Hey everyone, welcome back and happy Sunday. All right, guys, happy Memorial Day weekend. If you're here in the United States, if you're not, just happy Sunday, period. This is a weekend for us, if you're not in the United States, where people are barbecuing, they're hanging out with their families, they're just having good times. And yesterday, Jason and I went to the pool. There were a ton of kids that were running around because kids come with families. I am just so I just want to acknowledge all of the parents out there. I think you guys have a lot of patience. I don't. Um, so you guys kill it. Parents are amazing. This is why I'm not a dad, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't not. I mean, honestly, I could not do it. But we're not back to talk about that. We're back to talk about the Valley and another parent. Before we jump in, if you guys haven't already, go ahead, pop off in the comment section. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and let's jump right in. All right, guys, so I'm a little annoyed. I watched this past week's episode of The Valley, and there are a couple things that are just really getting me a little bit. One, I understand that these people are putting themselves out there on a reality TV show, but I do think that there are certain lines that you don't cross. I don't think that you cross people's children or their careers. And specifically, we had a situation this past week where Danny Booko, they were in Palm Springs. Danny Booko ended up leaving to go back to LA because he needed to do a voiceover. So he had to work, right? And then he ended up coming back. When he came back, he definitely jumped right back into the party. He was drinking, having a good time, but so was everyone. Now, here's where I'm not going to defend him. Jasmine Goode came out and said that he touched her and said, you can call him daddy, and also sat there and hit on her girlfriend, or now fiance. No, that's not okay. I'm never going to sit there and back that. However, when he apologized to you, this is something that drives me absolutely freaking insane. When someone apologizes to me, if I'm not ready to accept it, I'm like, piss off with your apology. I don't care. Thank you, but I'm not ready to receive that yet. So I appreciate your effort, but I need space. That's not what was said. Danny Booko apologized to Jasmine and she received it. Okay, so then we bury it. What do we do? Because now it kind of seems like we're bringing things up for a storyline. But Jasmine Goode ended up coming out because in this episode, you see where at the end of last week's episode, Nia was getting a lot of crap because she was not saying that Danny Booko was drunk. And she was like, oh, he's tired, blah, blah, blah. And the cast was drunk. Brittany Cartwright, who I love. And she was like, this isn't fair. Like, my husband's in rehab. Why are we not allowed to talk about what's going on with your family? I get that. You're on a reality TV show. Lala Kent just said this recently. On a reality TV show, you need to deliver in a way where it's everybody needs to offer something to the show, because if you don't, at the end of the day, what's going to happen is it's just going to be some bullshit, and everybody is trying so hard to make the show, I guess, successful, but really you guys are just kind of screwing us over, and you're making it 10 times harder for us. I know what she's saying. I get it. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to put words into her mouth. This is what she said.
This season of The Valley, when you guys were in Santa Barbara and you got annoyed, and it was like, I share my whole life and I feel like other people aren't. And then Nia says, because you're going through a hard time, you have to project onto me. And I'm like, no, not at all. This is a reality television show and everyone needs to show up or else you make this really unfun and very hard.
Yeah, a lot of people in my comments about that were trying to be like, Brittany's just jealous. Like, no, I was talking about this one specific day where I saw different things leading up to it, which they did show some of it on the show. Like they showed like the fights and this and that. And I love Nia. I want the best for them. A lot of people thought that I was like either jealous or that like I cared that Danny was drinking. I did not care. I cared because I thought that day that there was a lot of things that were being hidden. And it was just that day. I love them. I think they're great. If they want to handle their business, how they want to handle it, good for them.
So I agree with what Brittany's saying and I agree with what Lala's saying. But, you know, another thing that happened was after this all came to light, Nia was left like crying. And this girl is like such a sweetheart. So then fast forward, they try to fix everything, right? So as they're trying to fix everything, you could see where she showed up and she opened about her past experiences with being homeless and sharing that she lived in shelters or even in her car while trying to hold a job. And that her and her mom would pitch a tent in the back of people's yards. Who knows how much of that is true? I'm not sure, but if it is true, it's traumatizing and it does definitely shape someone. As somebody who went through an interesting childhood myself, it shapes a person. And I would never sit there and question that or say like what you're saying is invalid. But the problem that I have with this specific situation was Jasmine Goode recently came out and she suggested that Nia disclosing this information was potentially like a strategy to drive attention from the discussions about Danny Booko and also his drinking issues. And this is what I don't understand. She said, I felt bad that she had to go there to open to us. But at the same time, I felt like this is why you put on this facade that you're so perfect sometimes. And this is so sad to say, but it made me feel like, is she saying this to get off like, hey guys, I'm going to tell you that I was homeless. So now you can't get mad at me. And then just looking at the conversations, Janet said that she was waiting for Nia's revelations to make sense. She said, I was like, well, maybe she'll say because of my past, I hide things. I understand I'm hiding things, but that's how I've dealt with things. But she never really made the connection. And it just kind of felt like you guys shouldn't be, you know, doing anything to upset me because I've had a really rough childhood and upbringing. And to me, it did feel like it was in order to gain sympathy. But looking at it, I'm like, I don't think that this was in order to gain sympathy. I think that she was telling you guys that she has had such a shitty upbringing. And this is why she operates in the manner that she does. And she tries to look for the positive out of all of the things. And she tries to lean into a positive headspace. That is not a negative, first of all. You sitting there accepting an apology, like Jasmine Goode for me right now, like I'm good on Jasmine Goode in this moment because you sitting there accepting an apology, you should have stood there in your truth and said, I don't accept your apology. You violated me. You were disrespectful. You tried the hell out of me. And so, no, I don't accept that. But when you accept it and then you go back and you start rehashing things, and then you're claiming that Nia is over here and she's concocting some bullshit story in order to, you know, get out of something. It's like, well, no, I feel like you are rehashing things to give yourself some bullshit storyline. So I think that the pendulum swings both ways. You know what I mean? And I know that there was also Janet Caperna who also felt like the story, it didn't have like a clear connection to the current issues that were being addressed. And then Brittany Cartwright also said that while it was commendable for Nia to open up, it felt somewhat rehearsed. But I agreed in that moment with Kristen Doty. I was like, no, Kristen Doty was spot on with this shit. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. And I think that this cast, they have the potential to really, really do something great here. But I think that they need to really get their shit together. Because a lot of the cast, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, a lot of this cast, they're not everyone is interesting. I've said this multiple times. There's like 4 people. I think Janet Caperna is great. Do I think that, you know, outing somebody for being on, you know, like an alcohol anonymous or whatever it's called, I don't know, AA. Do I think that was an accident? I think that that's hard to make that an accident. That also comes off calculated. But I think Janet Caperna is great. I think she's she is great on the show, you know? And maybe it was an innocent accident and she did apologize for it on Watch What Happens Live. But if we're going down the line, my thing is just like, this is why I do not accept apologies all the time from people. If you have something to say, then say it. And if I want to accept it, or if you want to accept my apology, if I hurt you and you tell me, look, Adam, I'm not ready to receive what you're saying yet, and you tell me to piss off, I understand that because I messed up. I think we've all been in those situations. But cotton candy, like bullshit responses and accepting something only to turn around and re-weaponize it and use it for the benefit of you and driving a storyline, that to me it's garbage. It's trash. So I'm not saying the people are trash, by the way. I'm saying that act is silly. So I want to hear what you guys think, guys. Pop off in the comment section. Also, do not forget, if you haven't already, you guys can go to upandadamlive.com. We launched the site on Saturday or Friday. Yeah, just 2 days ago. My God, seems like we've had it for a minute. As you guys can see, we have celebrity news, Bravo blinds. We have reviews. I mean, it's kind of crazy. We have all of our YouTube videos. We also have our podcast in here. We have a great team of writers. This is a hub, a one-stop shop, and we are continuously growing the Addams family, which I think is amazing. You guys can go submit your blinds if you have them. And if you guys want to join the conversation, which I heavily encourage you to, then go make a login. It is all free. Make a profile. And then just start going in where you can look at the conversations and you can just, like over here, go over to Brittany and you can start responding and be a part of it. That is the way to do it because we're about to get savage in the comments. I love you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.